Hello everybody, this is Burnout Brony here, and I'm doing a fanfiction reading today. Today's fanfiction will be Scootaloos First Time, written by MLPAllGrownUp. This was originally written as part of a 1-hour challenge. Scootaloos First Time. Scootaloo laid in bed, as nervous as she could ever remember being since she was a foal. Some nights like this she wished she still had her cuddly soft toy to cuddle up to, but it was on a nearby table with some others. She'd grown so much over the past few years, and especially the past few months. And plush toys just weren't for hugging. They were collector's items. Besides, there was some pony new in her life for her to cuddle up to. Some pony who made her feel warm, safe, and loved. Some pony she was willing to go to the end of the world with. But tonight, she was going to risk it all. But risks were part of growing up. Without risk, you cannot have reward. If anybody knew that, Scootaloo did, having learned that lesson the hard way. Sometimes risks didn't pay off, and you would end up covered in tree sap or in a pigsty. But other times, it would pay off, and for just the briefest of moments, it felt like you were flying. Bringing her thoughts back to the ground and the night, she thought about the pony she was expecting any minute. That pony made her feel like she was flying every day. The cares of the world floated away when she was in their warm embrace. And tonight, it was all potentially going to change. Their relationship would grow into something more deep, meaningful. Of course, like most youngsters her age, it was easy to overestimate the impact growing up actually meant. Every year, she had to look upwards less and less to meet the faces of adults, which helped take away a bit of power they had over her, and her wings had grown stronger and stronger. So much so that they more than made up for her other shortcomings, like her singing. Those wings were twitching with excitement and nerves as she lay in bed. It's time. It's time. Think about everything that's changed and how this is the next step. And it was true. Scootaloo and her friends had found what made them special, and that adventure was over, much to the relief of their families. However, you don't crusade like that for 3 years without forming a sort of special friendship that lasts a lifetime, and hopefully longer. Every pony agreed that they were the second closest group of friends in the entire world. Of course, they were only second because it's hard to go up against friendships formed through predeterminative, multiple world-saving, God-creating destinies. But the trio did make the bearers of the elements have to earn the title of best pony friends forever. Scootaloo laughed as she thought of that. It's a small world, really, if they couldn't even be the best friends in their own town. And it must even seem smaller for Twilight and the others. She thought of them and started to reflect on their relationships she had formed with them, with every pony. Scootaloo had always had trouble with relationships. Losing your mother and father at such a young age can do that to a filly, and Scootaloo had been in and out of trouble throughout her entire life. But one event had changed all that, and everything had changed at Diamond Tiara's Quinceañera. Once the unbreakable trio had formed, Scootaloo found it easier to let others into her life. And now, here she was, in bed, waiting, to take this relationship up a notch. Tonight had to be the night. Scootaloo looked through the open curtains at Luna's moon high in the night, reflecting on what she had learned from the Princess of the Night. Face your real fear. Scootaloo had always faced some of her fears, but what did she really fear the most? Being alone. Again. Rejection. Of course, her family hadn't rejected her. It wasn't their choice to leave her as a foal, and she looked forward to seeing them again in the great stable beyond. And the other children didn't deliberately reject her. She was different from them, and that made them nervous. And she understood she couldn't go to summer flight camp like the other Pegasi, and had to stay on the ground. But understanding something as a youngster and understanding it as much as a filly can doesn't make it hurt any less. Scootaloo found herself getting nervous as she reflected on sadder times, so she reached over and took a drink of water from the glass beside her bed. No, Scootaloo, it's time, she told herself. The rest of the class can do it, so why can't I? I'm no less special than they are. Don't I deserve the same? The same happiness? Scootaloo tried to rally herself up. She knew all too well the problems of being different. after all the troubles the bullies had caused her and her friends. She was thankful that they hadn't picked up on this insecurity yet, and she hoped that perhaps even they realized there were some lines that were not to be crossed. A smile formed. No, it's time. It has to be tonight. There's no going back. Scootaloo was not a silly filly and knew that once it was done, it could never be undone. Things would never be the same again. Things should be so much better. The first time would be the hardest, but things would only get better after that. They'd be more natural. The door opened, and Scootaloo's heartbeat quickened as a shadow in the door came towards her, the outline of the other pony just visible in the moonlight. She heard the visitor say something, but Scootaloo was far too distracted to really pay attention. Besides, she knew what they had said. It's time, Scootaloo thought to herself, and took the plunge. Good night, Mom, she replied, as the sheets were being tucked in around her. Rainbow Dash froze, having never heard those words from her daughter. Mom? The mare replied quietly, as if not believing her ears. Scootaloo smiled up at her, never seeing the elder in her family this stumped before. Yes, Mom. I think it's about time, don't you? Of course, Rainbow had had Scootaloo under her wing for a while now, and the filly had moved in with her over a year ago. It wasn't an official adoption. Such things took too long in the bureaucratic nightmare that governed the land. But the school and the mayor had been more than happy with the arrangement. Better for Scootaloo to be in a loving home with the mare she idolized than with overworked foster parents. Are you sure about this? Rainbow replied, forcing down the lump in her throat that threatened to overwhelm her. I don't mind you calling me Rainbow, or Sis, or whatever you like. Don't feel pressured. Scootaloo sat up in bed and gave her adoptive mother a hug, interrupting the eldest mid-flow. The pair both found themselves gently sobbing. Scootaloo from finally releasing the pent-up worry, and Rainbow for realizing just how much she meant to the filly that had coped with such adversity in her life. I love you, Mom. I love you, Scoots. Well, I love you more, Scootaloo joked back, trying to regain a little composure after the tears. Not possible. You're my little baby now, Rainbow mocked, giving the youngster a rub on her head. Oh, Mom. The filly tried pushing away with the larger Pegasus. Forever, Rainbow replied with a laugh, hugging Scootaloo as her real daughter for the first time. All right, everyone. I hope you enjoyed that. This is just the first time I'm trying this to see how well it works out. If any of you all like it, leave likes, subscribe down at the bottom if you enjoy it. If you want to see me do more of these things, leave in the comments below some of the fan fictions that you have found amazing that you would love to have read on my channel, or if you have just found something interesting that you think I should read, go ahead and leave it down there. I'll definitely try and check it out as best I can. I have about 150 other stories on fan fiction to look through, and who knows, maybe something in there will, maybe another one of them will spark my interest, and I'll do another one that's longer. This one was nice and short as a first-timer. Hope you all enjoyed it. Like I said, if you like it, leave comments, subscribes, likes. Be awesome. This is Burnout Brony, signing off.